Good morning and welcome. It's the Wednesday word on a Monday. It's my election thing. I missed last week because I was away and have taken a few days off. But I've been asked a question that really is pertinent to this week, and I know that this will be a tough one because it's political, but it's also not political. Let me address that. First of all, I'm Steve Onsman, pastor of Calvary UCC in Reading, PA. Glad you're here. Hope you'll share this. This comes from April Dancy in advance. Thanks, April, um, who is in Las Vegas but still connected. Her question: how do I love my friends who support President Trump? Now, before you get up in arms, this is not really about him. It's about how do we. I don't deal with politics in these segments, although people know I have a political brain and I deal with these things regularly. But there are deeper questions of how we relate to people who we're different from, faith wise, morality wise. It's an important question to ask. So, first, let me just say the president gets accused of a lot of things, and he may or may not be these things. Again, we don't know what's in his heart. We always hope for the best, but assumptions can be a problem, and assumptions can cause us to judge other people. And so, I just think it's important to ask the question: if you think somebody in the public eye, a leader of some organization, is sexist or homophobic or racist or you know whatever, and you have friends who know that you are in a group that is disliked. Uh, I'm considered a liberal, and he says bad things about liberals. Um, I have friends who are Trump supporters, and so we're friends. We still care about each other. So, but how do you get past that? That's the tough one. How do you get past when you differ in such a big way? So again, I'm not going to make statements about where the president is on these things. You can read his statements and hear him speak. That's up to you to decide. I have to take this from, I have to address this as how Christians are supposed to treat people they disagree with, even on very important issues. So the first thing is this: the most difficult of the commandments that Jesus gave, the Beatitudes, for example, are filled with all these ways in how we treat each other. They're the most difficult in the first century. They're the most difficult now, and this is why we ignore them generally. Um, how do we treat our enemies, or those we think wish to harm us, or those who don't like what we are or the way God made us? Um, Jesus has a lot to say about this that we would probably would rather not deal with, and you may or may not like this, but you know me by now. I don't really care. I'm trying to tell the truth and be helpful in some way. First of all, first thing is we're supposed to love our enemy, not just our neighbor. Second is we're supposed to turn the other cheek. Third is we don't take an eye for an eye. And the fourth is if someone forces you to go a mile to carry the Roman soldier could make you carry their equipment, go a second mile because they weren't allowed to do that. That, as far as we know that, right? All of these are found in a number of places, but specifically they're found together in Matthew 5 at the end of what we know as the Beatitudes. In this chapter, Jesus is forcing us to live the gospel even when it goes against our natural inclinations. That's the whole point of the gospel. It's if we would do these things on our own without any prodding or any education, then we wouldn't need them. I mean, if we could be better people without God, then why would God even matter? I mean, God wouldn't get involved with things, right? We need to go against a lot of our natural inclinations because we tend to be selfish as well as generous. We have to learn to be more generous. So he says something about love that is harsh, that anyone, even bad people, can love those who love them. That's the first one. Love your enemy, not just your neighbor. He says even the Gentiles. I don't have time for that right now, but even the Gentiles love their those who love them. What credit is that to you? That's a really important thing because you can't go through life saying, "Well, I love my family and my friends, therefore I'm a good person." Jesus says that's not true. A good person, everybody, bad people. I hate to use the example. I mean, Hitler had friends, we think. So it's he says, loving those who hate us or have what we consider to be wrong ideas and belief systems, this is the challenge. It's about not punching back when you're slapped. It's not. It's about not wanting your enemy dead. I don't think Jesus was advocating that we ever should allow someone to beat us. I mean, there are passages that could be interpreted that way. I don't think he wanted us to be doormats. Um, I think he was advocating strength through nonviolent resistance, which might, like Jesus and Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and a number of other people, um, Medgar Evans, you name them, right? That it might get you killed anyway. So it's not that resistance in that way is going to keep you safe. In fact, in some ways, it will infuriate the person you're resisting. So for me, the way I try to understand people who have radically different ideas than mine and values from mine is to listen. I mean, to listen and ask why they believe what they believe and try to get a real answer and not put up with just because that's not an answer. I ask very sincere questions. For example, if you're gay and you believe this administration is mistreating the LGBT community, ask your friends how they can reconcile that while being friends with you. If you're Latino and you know the things the president has said about Latinos, especially Mexicans, um, when he was running up for his first election, ask your friends how they can support that and still reconcile their friendship with you. Most of all, I think you should, if you feel you're in a group that is in danger for whatever way, if your safety is being threatened, and I don't know if those fears are real or not, you should help your friends to understand that you're afraid. Make be very clear, and so they take you seriously. And if they don't really hear you and care about you, well, they aren't much of a friend. We shouldn't hate those who disagree with us, but neither should we remain closely connected if it's damaging to our souls. So be respectful, be polite, but I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time. I mean, you can try to convince them, but if they are dead set against you, you don't need that kind of damage to your life. You don't need that kind of negativity. Love them, but don't allow them to abuse you. And then you make the choice along the way and sincerely have that conversation. Anyway, that's all the time I have. Special Monday edition. Get out there. If you haven't voted already, I did early. We're good. Um, get out there and vote. Everybody must vote. I would never tell anybody who to vote for. Only if you don't vote, you probably should move to China and let someone there move here who likes to vote. Okay. Um, but be safe, wear masks, wash your hands. I will be back for the regular Wednesday word, of course, on Wednesday. Have a great day.